You sit there.
Your coasters are legit.
They're a gift from a pilot friend of mine.
Oh, hi.
This doesn't have to be all up in your face, but it does have to be somewhat close, so I'm going to put it right about here. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories, a podcast that shines a light on ordinary people and their extraordinary stories. From small towns to big cities, we're sharing the real, raw, and inspiring moments that connect us all. Because every voice matters, every story counts. This is Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories. Welcome, Joes. We're back with another extraordinary episode for you. Today's special guest, you've seen him before, you love him. It's Eric Nusbaum. Best friend Eric Nusbaum, what are you doing?
I'm just hanging out, being loved on by your dogs, which is very interesting because the times before I'm here, they're weary of me, I guess.
Yeah, but you've been here before, so.
Yes. But
So, on that note, this is another long time coming episode because you've been here before several times.
Yes.
We've had this on the books a couple times before, but schedules don't align and whatnot, and we've had to put it off. So today we're just like, we're getting it done. We have to get it done.
We're getting it done, and schedules and life, right?
Life, I tell you. Okay, so since the last podcast we did together, you've had some significant life changes.
Understatement.
Which is one of the reasons you're here and have been here several times, which is awesome. So I'm all for them. I'm happy about them. But tell me about your life changes.
So the last time we did this, I was living in Washington State, and I was in the process of moving to Colorado for a new job.
Well, actually, when we spoke, Colorado wasn't even on your radar yet. So.
I was in the process of looking for a new job.
Yeah.
And yes, nothing had been defined yet, but it was in the process there.
So, real quick, when you were in Washington, what were you doing for your job?
When I was living in Washington State, I was a fraud investigator for Department of Labor and Industries, so I investigated claims of workman's comp fraud.
Fucking wild.
It was. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it very much.
Did you bust anybody seriously doing some shit?
All the time.
No shit.
All the time.
Yeah,
but so I will say that as much as I enjoyed finding people doing bad, because it's a great thrill when you work hard and you're like, I got you, right? I was probably even more so happier finding people doing the right thing.
Oh, absolutely, that's awesome.
So it's a
fantastic outlook.
It is like some of my coworkers would be like, oh man, I wasted all this time, and they were just sitting at their house, and I was like, well, that's a good thing,
right? They weren't fraud.
They weren't doing anything wrong. Like they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. Like maybe they forgot to fill a piece of paper correctly. Okay, someone thought they were doing wrong. It's our job to look into it. We looked into it. They weren't doing wrong. Perfect. They're on the road to recovery, and hopefully they'll go about.
You're talking about people who say that they're disabled and can't continue to work, but then you see them at their house and they're fucking carrying 50-ton boxes into the house and shit.
Yeah. I mean, that is a very narrow way to look at it, but yeah, I mean that's exactly what it is. You get people that hurt their back, roofing.
Yeah.
Common injury, right? Fall off a roof or lifting, pallets of shingles and stuff like that hurts your back, right?
Sure.
Oh, I can't work. Okay. Well, why are you doing a roofing job somewhere else under the table? Like, come on, guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to say guy, single out people. I mean, but the generic term, guy.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so
use
guys. So you went from fraud investigating to your new career, but let me roll you back there a little bit. You and I had a little discussion about a previous job that made me geek out. Tell me about that job.
So prior to me getting real grown-up adult jobs and in the criminal justice world and fighting fraud and all that, I was probably like I was an average everyday Joe, right? Like I worked Joe jobs. I had some dead end jobs, some mildly upward mobility jobs, and everything in between. But the one you're specifically talking about that you really enjoyed hearing about was when I helped to renovate and remodel aircraft interiors.
Fucking epic.
Yes.
Some of my favorite planes, and we won't get too far into it. I don't want to get in the weeds about that again because that was a time-consuming conversation, and I won't ever stop asking questions. But yeah, some of my favorite airplanes, this man did a remodel on, and I fucking am jealous.
Well, and what we didn't talk about, and it was really fun and cool, is like you always hear stories about people finding like all these things on airplane seats that people leave behind. Yeah, I don't know how many pairs of earrings, wedding rings, headphones, cell phones, and this was back in the day when like cell phones weren't as
smart.
They weren't as smart as they are today.
Nokias
but like
and shit.
You'd find like Blackberries and stuff, and you're like, man, this is awesome.
What did you do with all that shit? Did you just keep it?
No, we had like a lost and found box. I don't know what ever happened with it.
Bro, I know what happens with that. The lost and found box, if it's unclaimed for 3 months, they put it online for these online auctions.
Probably.
And people bid on it, and you get to win other people's shit.
Yeah, I wasn't too concerned with that stuff because I was like early 20s at that time, so like I didn't care specifically about like
that's fair,
that kind of things, but like I would take home expired life preservers and stuff. Like I don't know what I was ever gonna do with them, but
give them to me because I would have fucking geeked out about it.
Well, yeah. Had
did we know.
Been closer during that time frame, I would have put them in the mail for you. And be like, here you go.
Interestingly enough, during that time frame, I had no fucking interest in airplanes, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But
different planes passing through the sky.
Ain't that the truth? Outstanding. All right, so before we move on real quick, and excuse my sniffles, I'm having bad allergies this morning, but before we move on, I need to do a little housekeeping on our first episode. I need to clarify something. So,
yes.
So, my brother Eric Nusbaum here is my best friend, is my longest running friend, but I need to put a pin in that and clarify a little more that best man friend, my male friend, because if you want to get technical about it, after you left New Mexico, obviously I needed a replacement Nusbaum, which never happened.
You can't replace me.
Don't get it twisted. That never happened. But I did find some substitutes that filled in pretty good. Still friends with these guys till this day too. But in the grand scheme of things, my wife Sarah is legit my best friend. Like we share things that I certainly wouldn't want to share with you. we spend all of our spare time together. Like, let's not get it twisted. It is what it is. She's my real best friend as far as best friends go. But as far as long-standing platonic men friends, Eric Nusbaum is my best friend in that respect. So, just not to get it twisted, that's what it is.
Yes, and because of our last conversation and your best friend wanting to come to terms with me, best friend, I have to give a shout out to my wife because, as you mentioned last time, hello Jennifer.
Hi Jennifer.
You talked about how. Can I say her name or we?
Yeah, you can say her name.
Yeah, so you talked about how Sarah was kind of like your turning point in life.
Yes, most definitely.
I got that look after the Jennifer Hurst, like, well, why didn't you mention me? Aren't I your turning point? And yes, you are.
So hold on. In her defense, it's not her fault. If you went on a podcast and were talking about your best friend but didn't say anything about me, I'd have been offended too. So,
but yes, I mean, I want to give a shout out to all the wives, all the women out there that unsung heroes of a lot of people's lives. Like
women make the world go round, and that's not a fucking joke.
And, so I got my master's degree because, not so much because of her, but like she decided that she was going to go back to school and, further her education. I was like, well, that's a really smart idea. I should do something like that. I mean,
totally.
She has really challenged me to grow as a person, kind of get out of that childlike mentality.
I don't want to get out of that childlike mentality.
I don't either, but
I get it. I
sometimes,
get it.
like,
You got to adult.
yes, you got to adult.
There's a point where you have to adult.
So she has taught me the value in adulting,
Yes.
and reminds me that I still got a lot of work to go on that. But
Don't we all?
so,
Bro, in my mind, I'm still a 14-year-old going to car shows,
yes.
which we'll get into in a little bit. But on that note, let's go deeper into that about Jennifer, for that matter, our women stepping into our lives and changing things for the better. Because I want to just say, when Sarah and I first got serious, there was a lot of things that she was, let's say, implementing into our daily routine that I was not comfortable with. I did not like. I was not happy about. Looking back on the whole thing, and even as far as marriage goes, that was not something that I ever wanted to do, had in my mind. It was not going to happen.
Yeah, that was the bottom of the checklist right there.
And then fast forward in life, being a team and making compromises, I don't know, now looking back on it, I don't know what the fucking big deal was, because everything is so much better, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they have this foresight into the future that they know what's going to happen and what the outcome's going to be and how it's going to... And of course, let's not get this twisted either. Every relationship has its rocky roads, ups and downs. That's normal. If you don't have that shit, then there's something seriously wrong and you probably shouldn't be in that relationship. But in the grand scheme of things, they have this ability to see that everybody's going to be happier. It's going to work out. This is the way things are supposed to be. And so, I over time just gave a little against my own will. And then look back on it and I'm like, what the fuck was I fighting for? Because I was only fighting myself. Like, this is my life. This is fantastic. I wouldn't have it any other way. But if I had my own way, this would not be my life.
We probably wouldn't be sitting here talking.
I would be broke, living in a trailer most likely, or an apartment, and, living paycheck to paycheck, not experiencing life the way I experience life.
Truer words have never been spoken, sir.
So, yes, shout out to all women, Jennifer, Sarah, and anybody else who, has that foresight and has made a life for themselves, because, I totally credit Sarah with this life.
Oh, yeah.
As I'm sure you do, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, I definitely bought well above my pay grade on that one.
Didn't we all, buddy? I don't know how any women have any interest in any of us, so...
Well, we off air, we talk a lot, and we talk, reminisce about, the good old days. And
the good old days.
I mean, I don't know how we survived alone by itself, but, I don't think, had I known Jennifer earlier on in my life, she would have been like, no, pass.
Yeah, you're fucking...
Swipe left.
That wasn't even a thing, but yes, she would have come up with that.
Yeah, probably would have, yeah.
What the fuck am I looking at? No, thank you.
Delete, block.
Yeah, hard pass. Hard pass. Okay, good. Now that we got housekeeping out of the way, yes. I want to talk to you about the pod. What you have been catching up slowly but surely, and I don't blame you for not listening fully on when they come out and everything. I know you're a busy fucking guy because, again, life, we all are. But now that you started to catch up on this little road trip you're taking here, what are your thoughts? Tell me about some of your favorite moments. Tell me about, what you think of it overall.
All right, so first I'll preface this by, when you first asked me to do this, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What is really a podcast? Because I've heard the word. I know people talk, and that's that. And as many of your guests have said, or you've mentioned that they were reluctant to come and do this because they didn't really know. And you and I, again, like I was telling you, Jennifer and I, it's the conversations you and I have should be its own separate full-time recording job, but we don't have time for that, so.
Unfortunately.
But, so, after doing the podcast with you and listening to the first episodes came in and then continuing our conversation, I started getting a little bit more into them. Yours is by far the one I listen to the most.
Which I greatly appreciate. Thank you for your support.
And I love it. And to all the people out there and all the guests that you've had, I mean, I absolutely love all of your stories. I love hearing everyday people, and I don't mean everyday just to sell you short. I mean all of you have accomplished so many great things, and
Yeah.
it's great. It's great listening to it. Like, it makes me feel good because I know that it's someone who could be my friend
Yes.
doing these things that maybe aren't recognized properly enough for, and I think it's great. Like, this platform, hopefully gains enough traction, and more of these people get, I don't want to say famous from this, but like just recognition,
Yes.
just to
Absolutely.
say shout out for you for getting up every day and just keep on doing it, like
Phenomenally spoken, sir.
Yeah.
That's great wording. I appreciate that.
So for everyone out there, keep on doing you. Just keep on, get up every day, keep that fight up. Like, just keep going.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
But so yeah, on that note, you've gotten into podcasts and have moved beyond my podcast as well.
Yes, I don't recall if our conversations about Mr. DS made it in the last one or not.
It did.
Okay, so well.
Hold on real quick before you start saying this. I want to hear exactly what you're going to say, but I also want to preface it with I have the utmost respect for you, and this goes across every guest I've had as well. Like, I appreciate vulnerability, honesty. Like, it's really difficult to be vulnerable or admit that you may have made a mistake, or things like that. And so everybody who's been on here that's been vulnerable and has had the courage to speak out about the shit that you did or shit that your life was hard for because of past discrepancies or something difficult you went through. Like, I really respect that. It's very difficult to do, and it's really awesome that people are so open about it and willing to share that with so many other people. And I'm sure that gives other people courage and strength to move forward. But what I was going to say is I really respect you for what you're about to say, because that's hard to admit too. Like, the fact that your mind was changed,
Yes,
is a hard thing to admit. So please proceed.
So previously, both on air and off air, we talked about my unfavorability.
Sure.
With
disdain.
Okay. With Dak Shepard.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that he was one of your kind of leading motivators
Yes,
into
definitely.
getting into this world. And
Yeah.
we talked about, pros and cons of him, and how yes, he does comedically phenomenally on screen.
Yes.
And we talked about
agreed.
Chips, yes, thank you. I was going to say 21 Jump Street. Like, no, that's not him.
But also Idiocracy.
And Idiocracy, yes. Two great movies.
Phenomenal.
And his presence,
Yes.
is underrated. And I think that, if given the opportunity, or maybe he doesn't want it, I don't know. But I think he should definitely be in more films and
Agreed.
things like that. But, and I don't know him personally, so it's just what I see otherwise. Right. I don't like him.
Right.
I don't like him. I have zero interest in him.
Sure.
But, you talked about him and talked about how normal
Yes.
he is.
Well, I mean, a little bit more than normal, but yes.
Down to earth. Like,
Yes.
just a regular guy that we would probably get along with.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever. No, no interest, right?
Yeah.
Well, so as your podcast started to grow on me, and I listened and made sure I caught the episodes, maybe not on every release date, but within, a day or two, I was like, okay, I spent a lot of time driving. I spent a lot of time listening to my music.
Yeah.
Whether or not it rotted my brain's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But let's up my ante here a little bit. Let's change my perspective. And so I started listening to Armchair Expert, and I was amazed. Like, the quality and the level and just the down to earthness. Like,
not to mention the intelligence.
And,
because
oh my God.
I'm telling you, going into that podcast, I was like, why am I going to listen to this dumbass? Every character he's ever portrayed is just like a brainless, mindless numbskull. And I'm like, why am I going to listen to this guy?
He is incredibly intelligent. And I don't want to, not in that like book smart, nerdy way, but just like real life experience.
Yes,
and
100%.
It's not dumb. It's not, half-assed. Like, he carries on conversations And from some of the things that, like, when he's wrong or unknowing of things, like, he admits to, says, hey, he knows, like, I'm not well versed, but let me hear
Please
it.
educate me, yeah.
You know, and
I
he's
fucking love that, dude.
talked to these people with, multiple PhDs, and it's like,
and he carries that like he just keeps up with them.
And I was just so impressed, and it really made me think, like, okay, so he's not just some tool out there, just banging against the woodshed, right? Like, he's there, he's doing his thing, he's bringing, like, a lot of the people that call in and talk, like, they are just so infatuated and love that he's who he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I was like, okay, like, maybe
you can see the appeal.
I was wrong. Like, I can see why he's so loved and so revered, and definitely has got a good thing going.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
and I applaud him for that, So
again, thank you for admitting that, and that's a very vulnerable thing to even admit, and it's such a minuscule thing, but I admire that you you are open-minded enough to even give it a chance. Like, most people are just so close-minded when it comes to, I don't like this, I don't want anything to do with it, I don't want to try that, I don't want to taste this, I don't want to see that, and you're just like, okay, I mean, I'll check it out.
Well, so,
and you fucking did. You're a man of your word. You checked it out, and your mind was changed, and you admitted that, and that's impressive to me. So thank you for that.
Well, it's like, I try to teach my 4-year-old. It's like, especially with food, you got to take that no thank you bite. You try it.
Sure.
I tried it. No thank you. I don't like it.
Right.
So
right.
Dak Shepherd was my no thank you bite, and it turned out, hey, it's pretty tasty.
Thank you.
Not Dak Shepherd. I have no idea what he tastes like, but
well, again, thank you for not only giving it a chance, but admitting to that, because you're a better man than most.
It's not about being better. It's just bettering myself, right? Like, that's
sure.
what we should all strive for. Like, I'm probably not liked by a lot of people for various reasons, and maybe it's just my own mentality and my way of thinking.
It is, but yeah,
it's like, I can always be better, and no one's going to do that except for my wife, and then me.
Boom.
So,
yeah. Well, good on you, man. That's an admirable quality and trait. So I have the utmost respect for that, and I'm gonna model after that. And next time I fuck up or am close-minded about something, I'm gonna remember this moment and be like, well, you know what? Nusbaum tried something. It changed his mind. I better give it a try at least. So
we can get little bracelets, WWND.
Let's do it. What would Nusbaum do?
Or WWBFND.
Yeah, best friend Nusbaum do. Love it. All right, so right now you're on a road trip, which gives you the time to catch up on some podcasting.
Yes.
You're headed down to
Silver City, New Mexico.
Silver City.
Home of Billy the Kid.
Boom. Love it. And just for the holidays, right? You're just going to do the family thing for the holidays?
Doing the family thing down there. My wife's family is really big.
Cool.
They're really big and close, so it's very important for my wife to be there. And now that we've moved a whole lot closer back to the Southwest, it's a lot easier to get down there. So,
and I love it because that gives me the opportunity to hang out with you on these road trips. Now, I am gonna put a caveat on this because you need to plan a little bit better and get here a little bit sooner so we have more time to hang out.
Yeah.
Because these overnights are just so fast, and we have lots of conversation, but it's not enough. Like,
true.
We need more time to catch up. We need a full day to catch up before you depart for your next leg of the journey. So
yes, and moving forward in the new year is now that I'm in Colorado. House is bought, house is moved in, house is unpacked. Mostly, when we come down here now to visit and to show my daughter around the places where I grew up and stuff like that, we'll have more time. We'll be able to spend a weekend rather than the overnight. So
good. We like that.
Yes.
So, being that you're in Colorado now, I wanted to say that you're pretty close to my brother Fabian now. He
lives in Loveland, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's only 20-some minutes up
That's
north
exactly what he said. It's about a 20-minute drive. I'm going to connect you two at some point. You guys have a lot in common. He's my brother that I probably talk to the most out of all my brothers.
And I haven't seen him since he was no higher than our kneecaps.
Correct. So it's going to be sort of a culture shock
to both of us, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if he remembers me, but
he does.
Okay.
He's pretty sharp. But yeah, as far as where you guys are at in life, he's got I think his daughter's like 2 now or almost 2, and you've got a 4-year-old. You guys are both right there by each other. I've got you into the disc golf thing again, so I've got him into the disc golf, so he can go fox around now. What is your future in Colorado looking like for you? Like, you're obviously enjoying it a little bit more than you did Washington, or is that even fair to say?
Well, I mean, how do I say this? Okay, so growing up in New Mexico is unlike anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, just given the people that we've grown up with, and you've talked extensively about that
Yeah.
in the previous past
Yeah.
episodes with not just me, but some of your other guests.
Yeah.
Moving to Washington was a huge culture shock,
Right.
because it went from a predominantly Hispanic culture driven, Southwest driven, Wild West driven environment
Sure.
to a very white mentality. And I don't mean that like in the negative sense, but everything was very bland. Like it was go to work, go to school, go to work, go to school, go to work, go to school. I didn't pick up on a lot of like big family functions or the closeness. Like your family wasn't just like your family. It was this huge circle.
Bro, that is wild because New Mexico is like, anybody from New Mexico or raised here, you talk to them and they're like, oh, family is number one. Family is the most important.
Yeah.
Blood is thicker than water, that kind of mentality. So that's crazy because that's a whole other like side of the coin.
Yeah, well, and we reference each other as brothers, and we grew up and we had these close bonds, and we're, as far as I know, we're not physically related, but it's that bond you build, and that love and that connection. And in Washington, it's not there. It's
To your as far as comment, bro, we have some conversations and like, I don't think two people can ever truly know everything there is to know about each other, but as our conversations progress throughout life, I find out shit about you that like is mirrored of my life, even when we weren't talking, like even when we had lost communication for those years. Like what I was doing is very similar to what you were doing.
Yeah.
That my taste in movies or music or whatever was exactly what yours was. The people I didn't care for were the same people you didn't care. Fucking these conversations are wild. That is a good point on what you were saying earlier about our conversations to just be recorded all the time, because like it's these crazy mind blowing things. Like I'm like, no fucking way, dude, you're lying.
like how is this true? Like
it's fucking crazy. But yes, so back to what you're saying.
But so yeah, Washington is great because yes, it has a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
You get to see a lot of different cultures.
Yeah.
Experience a lot of different mentalities and attitudes towards food and religion and politics and everything. Like New Mexico is very squared. It's
Kind of a good way to put it.
It's what it is. It's like, I don't want to say everyone thinks alike or has the hive mentality, but it's very, very squared. Like doesn't really deviate a whole lot.
Sure.
As we're in Washington, you have whole international neighborhoods.
That's fucking awesome.
Where you can take one street and it's all Vietnamese, all Korean, all Japanese, all Chinese, all Malaysian, all these different things. And then you go to another part of town and it's, like every major city has like little Italy or little Germany or whatever. Like, and it's so great because they intersect and cross-pollinate and do all these things, and you learn and you get involved in so much and you get so expanded, and it's great.
That's like...
Then you feel so empty and alone because it's a big city mentality, and...
That's wild.
And it gets lonely.
That's crazy.
While Washington is beautiful, and I loved it, there were some other things that I'm not ready to quite talk about that were the driving factors to just move on.
Okay, and I would like to get there maybe in another episode.
Sure, another episode.
Okay.
But, so after over 20 years living there, it was just like, I had enough, it was too crowded, it was too busy, it was too expensive, like, most cities.
God, that's so unfortunate because, I mean, just the idea of living in a place like that it's like you get to travel the world and experience these cultures without having to travel the world and experience these cultures. Like it's like they're brought to you, and I think that's really important for some people who won't have maybe the financial ability or the capability to actually travel the world and experience other parts of the world and their cultures. But having that in your own city is fucking awesome. Like you get to taste the foods, you get to see how these people interact with daily life in your own city. And I love the idea of a big city. And I mean, I've always been a big city boy, you know that, but you know, it makes me sad for New Mexico because we're so behind in the times in that aspect. Because we're so square, we don't have
Right.
look. We don't have a whole lot of public transit. We're so spaced out and gapped out that it's, you know, anywhere you go, you got to travel. It's not. I don't know. It's not a big city. Everything is so convenient. You know, you don't have to drive from one side of the city to the other. You can take a train. You can hop on a fucking bike or rent a bike or whatever. Like there's options for every aspect of life out there, and I love that. But I get what you're saying. I never would have thought the loneliness thing was an aspect.
No,
That's
it's
crazy.
real. And, in Seattle, they have, what's called the Seattle freeze. So, so if you're, single and all that, like, it's very difficult at times to, connect with people because you have so many high end jobs and job markets that are out there, and people flood out there to, become engineers or biotech or
Okay.
work in aviation or, technology. And, these people get these jobs, and rightfully so. They make a lot of money because they're good at what they do and they've got that background and experience. But
Okay.
then you have the people that don't quite fit in there that, see them as trying to be better or more pretentious. And you get these conflicts. So people don't
Wow.
want to talk to you because they think this, perception, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Closed mindedness.
closed mindedness. And I guess that is here too, but it's in a different sense.
Yeah, no,
Like,
look, here's different, dude. Because take my work for example. You know, there's over 17,000 employees where I work at the labs, and most of them are, I think, 12,000 of them are just craft people. They're just people who learned a trade and are good at that trade and work up there. So they are in a different, let's call it tax bracket or societal bracket. They're living, you know, middle to upper class, but they're just everyday ass people who don't go out and act, you know, like better, holier than thou, or
right.
like pretentious and like they have more money than everybody. They're just these everyday people who do everyday shit, and you wouldn't know by looking at them or what they drive or how they dress that they are that.
And growing up out here, that's how it was. Like, I mean, if we had friends that, their parents had, businesses, were
Yes,
successful, things like that.
yes,
They never appeared that way. They never
not
acted that way.
once.
Like, they shopped at the same places you shopped at.
Yeah,
And
bro, you find out that, like, for instance, one girl we went to junior high with, her dad owned Taco Bell, and I was like, I didn't find that out until we almost left that school, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
I
she's the
went
most
to elementary school with her.
Did you really?
We grew up and always had a little crush on her.
Hey, man, I did
But,
too. So
she never was receptive to me, and rightfully so, because I was a little shithead. But yeah, and yeah, you would never have known unless
she
you
was a very nice person.
had those
Very
conversations. And so going to that, when I moved to Washington, I had this New Mexico state of mind.
sure.
That should be a new slogan.
New Mexico state of mind.
Yeah. And, I didn't know Abercrombie and Fitch. I had no idea what that was, and
I mean,
so
we did, but it didn't happen here till mid 2000s.
and
So
so I get up there and I'm wearing what I'm wearing today, really.
same shit. I remember that shirt. I'm just
And
kidding.
people are just like, "Oh, why aren't you wearing these jeans? Why aren't you wearing these clothes?" I was like, "What are you talking about? Like,
What is that?
what is that?" And then I'm the fool because I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, I don't know these brands. Like, this is not something that I'm familiar with." And it came about what kind of car you drove, what kind of clothes you wore, how much money your parents made, and these weren't things out here that we were concerned with. So while I grew up my later years there in Washington, like I had friends, but not really I don't feel that they were the closeness that I would have had with friends here.
I get that. I get
Yeah.
that. I mean, I had a similar scenario in Oklahoma. Like, I met a lot of different people from all around the country going to my college. And I can say probably there was two people I got really, really close with out there who became like, my best friends out there. Marius, who lives in Colorado, still talk to him to this day. And then my buddy Nate, who his family just went above and beyond. All of his family, his brother, his mom, his dad, they all went like super far above what a normal person would do to make me feel like I belonged there and I wasn't alone. Because I had that similar sense of aloneness when I was in Oklahoma. I didn't have any family there. I didn't have anybody I knew. I had no securities. I was off on my own, just literally struggling to find my next meal because there were so many colleges in Tulsa that, there's kids from all over the world going there to go to college, and all of the even basicest jobs were all taken. So like even trying to find basic work to have money to eat was a struggle in itself. And so I got into a pretty bad funk there, and I only had those two guys that were like, I got really, really close with them. But that's not to say I didn't have other friends there, but it's still, as many friends and people that I knew there, I still felt alone. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I can imagine or equate that to what you're talking about in Seattle. So that's wild. What a crazy fucking world. What are you gonna do?
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. So now you're in a new career in Colorado now.
Yes.
Has your wife gone back to work yet?
Yes.
So she's doing what she's always done. I don't know how much you're open to talking about that, or she.
No. Well, yes and no. The answer. She works in early childhood education.
There you go.
But when I met her, she had a different role with the state of Arizona, where she was more of a resource coordinator.
That's crazy because we haven't even talked about life in Arizona.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother.
And then when we moved to Washington, she got into childhood education, and she was the director of a early learning center.
That's cool.
She went back. She got in a program with the state to go back and get her bachelor's in early childhood education. So she went and did that, and now she works for a school district out there in Colorado.
That's pretty cool. And what is that something that she's like passionate about? Does she love doing that? And like, is she stuck in that for life, or is she open to new possibilities down the line, or like?
Well, stuck is a very unique word with my wife, because she's very.
I didn't mean to
She likes things. She's not a creature of change. She doesn't like change a whole lot.
Creature of habit. Okay.
So she gets into something as she likes it, and she wants to stick with it. Upward mobility is fine, but
and that's great.
Going from here to here to here, she's not like that. So in terms of,
she doesn't have a desire for it, or she's just not comfortable with it.
I don't think she's comfortable leaving what she knows.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. So she's not adamantly out there looking for the next best thing.
No.
Okay.
She's very comfortable where she is. She loves what she does.
That's more what I was getting to. If she loves what she does, then it doesn't fucking matter. If you're happy with what you do, I think that's the most important thing. And
we talk about where she's at. Her current position isn't probably going to be her long-term position.
Okay.
But she's probably going to stay in that field, in that realm of working with kids and education and stuff like that. She really likes it, which is ironic because her mom was a school teacher, and her mom told her, whatever you do, don't become a teacher. So,
that's fucking sad because our teachers deserve more.
Oh, our teachers deserve a whole lot more.
They put up with some fucking shit, dude.
They put up with us.
And then you have to think about modern day teachers and school shootings and shit. Now it's a whole nother level. The game has changed so much for teachers, and they're still getting paid. They should get hazard pay and shit.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. The stories that I hear, because my wife works with kind of troubled, at-risk kids, right? They can't.
Little Erics,
yes. That's why she's probably so good with them. But she works with kids who need a little extra attention, right? Because in a normal classroom, they are lost. They can't sit still. They can't focus. There's fair. Too much distraction. So they have their own room where they can go to, and it's smaller, more designed for them to get the focus and attention that they need to help them thrive.
Okay.
So she, works in that, and, some of these kids have some real behavioral issues that are unchecked, society today, their parents, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Some of the shit that she comes home and tells me these kids say, and I'm like, oh my God, do I need to go in there and shake these kids and be like,
shake these
you
kids.
threatened my wife again?
Bro, let me tell you a quick, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let me tell you a quick thing. When I worked at Pep Boys, one day I was at the cash register waiting for one of my other employees to come in for the night shift, just checking out the few people that were in line. This lady walks up with her son, and she's a short little lady, 4'11", typical.
New Mexican woman.
Yeah. And she has her, I don't know, this kid couldn't have been more than 12 years old, but he's like towering over her.
Right.
He's like 5'2". And he's just grabbing shit off the shelves and putting it on the conveyor belt. And she's like, no, not that, not that, not that. And the kid's like, what the fuck are you doing? I want that. And I was like, I mean, are you going to smack him or should I? Because what the fuck, dude? And he's like, fuck you, Mom, you're buying that shit now. And I was just like, I don't even know if I want to cash you out. Like, you guys can just fucking leave because if you're going to allow your kid to talk to you like that, I don't really think I should be helping you. Like, of course, I had to cash her out and of course she fed into him, but he like threatened to hit her. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing with your kid? Beat the fuck out of that little dude.
And that's some of the conversations that I hear, from, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
That is nuts, man. I can't believe how much society has changed as far as like, I mean, and maybe it goes to speak, worlds for how we were raised when it was socially acceptable to spank your kids.
Right.
Because guess what? It put a little bit of fear in them and taught them respect, because I have respect for anybody regardless of age. Younger people, I start off with a little bit of respect. And you can either deplete that respect or you can improve that respect and gain more from me depending on your behavior. But I always give people the benefit of the doubt offhand. I don't ever walk up to somebody, and I mean, that's not fair to say. I have my flaws, and I do judge some people based on looks, and I'm all
judging people.
I'm usually wrong 9 times out of 10, which I'm proud to admit, because there is some good people out there. But the fact that people are just like, that mentality of, oh, my poor baby, and they don't want to fucking punish them, they don't want to put them in the corner, they don't want to tell them they're wrong, I want to give you a fucking trophy for waking up this morning. Like, I don't think we're doing it right anymore. I think that our generation, listen, I'm not saying beat the fucking living shit out of your kids, but bro, tell them they're wrong, ground them, take something away from them that they like. Show them that they can't get away with what they want to, because they're going to grow up to be these adults that, I'm sorry to say it, but who go and shoot up schools because they're so fucking entitled and they're not getting what they want.
Yeah. And I take some of that mentality with my daughter, and I'm like, I'm reminded on a regular basis that, she's 4 and I have to.
Yeah, dude, you need to tone it down. That's a little too early.
But, when she starts getting a little crazy, I'm like, all right, cool. I'll solve this real quick. Go get a trash bag. Throw your stuff away. No, I don't want to. Well, you can listen or you can have it my way. Which one do you want? I'll listen.
Good.
All right, good.
See, at least you're teaching her something, some form of respect.
Let's have a conversation about this now. And
that's even better. Communication is always good. I'm bad at communicating. I'll be the first to admit it. But I don't know. Something's got to change, because the way society's going is really fucked, especially for teachers and kids nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. And, hopefully one day our teachers will be properly compensated and taken care of and trained. And it'll, again, become a very respectful career path.
Sure. Not
just kind of a sociological joke.
That's crazy.
And I'm not saying that, all teachers are jokes. There's a lot of hardworking teachers that are out there, and I owe a lot to where I've become in life by some good teachers that took that chance and that opportunity to mold me.
Same.
And, so they are out there, and I think that, just unfortunate they're outnumbered by a lot of other things that are far beyond one person's control.
And it's really sad, because you can't even say that they're just in it for a paycheck, because their paychecks are not great. So, a lot of these teachers end up paying for shit out of their pockets. They're actually in it for the love of what they do and actually trying to help and trying to be good people, but we don't recognize that as something important. But this is going to carry on to a whole nother conversation, because our education system sucks anyway. You don't teach kids fucking life skills. You teach them fucking basic math. You teach them English skills that 9 times out of 10 they're not going to use as adults.
I still cannot tell you the difference between a verb and an adjective and all that other stuff.
I'm really good at that shit, and I can't tell you the difference. It's not an important, valuable skill. I have limited brain space, especially as I'm getting older, and I certainly don't want to waste it on that shit.
I can't math to save my life. I can write a sentence. It might not be accurate or correct, but,
Okay, well,
I know how to work.
I got us way off topic here, and
Did you really?
I was... Yeah, I was just trying to give a basic of what your wife did for
Sure.
a living
Okay.
because I was getting into what you've moved into
Oh,
now.
right. What I've moved into. So I stayed in the same field. So, sorry, dog. I still work in the criminal justice environment. I still do investigative stuff into right and wrong, but now I work for the Department of Transportation.
Very
And I'm
cool.
a safety investigator, so I say our agency, my team, both local and expanded. We go to motor carriers and commercial vehicles and make sure that they follow all the regulations to keep them safe.
That's
Not
fucking
just
awesome.
not just them, the drivers, the company, but everyday people on the road.
Yes.
Because I am learning very much now that commercial vehicles have so much blind spots that when we start learning to drive, we don't really
Right,
know.
there's something to be said for defensive driving on
Yeah.
our part because we can't just put all that burden on these big truck drivers and these commercial bus drivers and shit like that because there's limitations to their field of view, there's
Mm-hmm.
limitations to what they can and can't do performance wise with these giant vehicles.
Yeah.
And as the smaller vehicle on the road, the less dominant vehicle, we have the ability to get the fuck out of their way, let them do what they need to do, be courteous for fuck's sake.
But it's the little dog syndrome, right? Like you got your little hot rod and you're going to be like, I'm going to show this truck.
I'm gonna go around him, and you're gonna go right under him.
Yeah. And,
Like,
I see, my training and stuff like that, we go a lot over these things. You don't win against a commercial vehicle.
no,
I mean, whether it's, negligence on their half or negligence on the regular driver, like your Honda Civic is not going to withstand.
bro, you don't weigh as much as their axle.
No,
Their
you don't.
axle outweighs you and your car. So what do you think is gonna happen if you guys go toe to toe? Because it's not gonna be pretty for you.
It is not. But, again, to that, like the main goal of my job, our agency, is to educate to reduce incidences, right? So our goal isn't to go in there with, the idea of heavy hand and, shut businesses down. We want them to understand because a lot of these companies, these organizations, they start from nothing, a truck and a trailer, and they start picking up loads and they start moving, maybe it's, within state borders and they start to expand outwards and they grow.
Right.
Well, even the regulations, like anything, they're hard to follow. They're so convoluted and they have so many exceptions. You can do this except if you are in this position, or you can't do this unless you do this. And so people get lost in it. And, you start doing things, you start building your patterns and your habits, and you get into them. And next thing you know, you got a pattern of, bad safety reviews and
Yeah.
accidents or, poor quality in training, because,
Well, and on that note, that brings me to like the importance of maintenance.
yes.
Because not only do these people need to adhere to their regular maintenance schedules and beyond, do regular inspections, shit like that, but even as the little guy on the road, us people, people wonder why their cars are in such bad condition and why they have so many problems. Well, listen, even the shittiest car on the road is going to go forever if you just take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do preventative maintenance. Like, there's something to be said for that. I know somebody in my life, in my past, who refused to do preventative maintenance because they thought it was a scheme. Oh, this is just a conspiracy to get more money out of us. And I'm like,
Like greeting cards?
so, to my point there, that's maintenance is not something that you should ever shy away from.
No.
Like regular oil changes, frequently inspecting your brakes, balancing and rotating your tires. These are so fucking important, not only for the safety of you and everybody on the road, but for the life of your car. You don't do that stuff. And most people, like, the sad reality is a lot of people can't afford it.
True.
Which, say what you will, but a lot of people can't afford life.
Yeah. Well, and think about this too, right? So, like, when we grew up, I mean, you talked the last time about when we would rotate the tires on my mom's truck.
Yeah.
And we had that freak accident, right?
Wild.
The general public cannot work on their own vehicles anymore. Everything's so technologically advanced and sound like.
Well, hold on. I'm going to stop you there because that is not a fact. everything is not so technical. Even with the most modern vehicles, when it comes down to it, the system is still the fucking same as it was in the 50s and 60s. Like, there's no huge change advances. Maybe a few electronic sensors that are involved, but nothing that you need to be concerned with. If you're going to change your brakes, it's going to be just like changing your brakes 20 years ago.
Right. Well, when I first started driving my little Subaru hatchback, I could open up the engine. I could get into there.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I can't get into my engine compartment. Like, I can open the hood, like, yep, there's an engine in there.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
That's about it. So, so tools and things like that. I'm not saying that it can't be done.
No. But you're spot on when you said that, because like I know several people who even the most basic shit, they're like clueless of how to even get started, and not to diminish anybody's intelligence or ability, but fucking get on YouTube and watch a video or something, because there's so many how-tos out there that are, and if you're not confident in the video that you watch, look up another one. There's so many instructional videos. Call a friend, do something, figure out how to do it on your own if you can't afford to take it in. And you should. People should be. These are skills you should know, because if you do get broken down on the side of the highway, the knowledge that you gain from doing this is going to help you diagnose and possibly fix your car on the side of the highway and get you back on the road, like without involving a tow truck or a shop.
Yeah, and you're right. But like I was trying to say is, it used to be you could buy your cheap $20 mechanic toolbox at Walmart, and take care of many things on your vehicle.
Oh yeah.
Today, I don't think that's really the same.
Definitely not.
You have your code readers and these other things, and if you have the time and the money,
right?
You could still do a lot of things on your personal vehicle. I don't have the time for that anymore, and and a thing that me and my wife keep talking about is like, we've got to the point where we've worked enough in our life for the nicer things. Like, I'll pay someone who's a little bit smarter than me to take care of this. Let them deal with that so I can go do other things. And
now, there's 2 points I want to bring up on that. The first one is trust. There's a lot to be said for when you find somebody you can trust to work on your vehicle.
True.
Versus the scams that are out there, because let's face it, man, there's a lot of shops out there that will bring your vehicle in and intentionally find problems, or worse off, create problems so that they can get your business on that next problem.
Right.
It's never you take it in for an oil change, they do the oil change and say, hey, your car's doing great, we'll see you on the next oil change. That's not a thing. There's a lot.
Toyota it is.
Well, there is a lot of shops out there that you bring it in and you say, oh, I just need a basic oil change, and they come back with a fucking printout of multiple problems, and then they inflate it in your head to, oh, if you don't get this done right now, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, I can't afford that, but I need to because I don't want to die.
Yeah.
It's that you pay them to do all this shit that most likely most of it is unnecessary or can easily wait. So there's something to be said for that. Now, the other thing is, I'm not talking about the in-depth stuff that you're talking about. You're talking about like hardcore deep maintenance into the engine, but a basic oil change you can still do with basic tools on pretty much any vehicle. A basic brake inspection or tire rotation you can still do with basic tools. None of that needs anything. And actually, on the tire rotation and whatnot, you buy your tires from a shop, because who the hell has a tire machine? Most people don't. So you get your tires from a tire shop. Balance and rotate is usually included for the life of the tires, as long as you do it regularly.
Yeah.
But again, life happens and people lose track of time, and car maintenance gets put on the back burner, and then you go to get them rotated and they're like, well, your tires are fucked because you didn't rotate them.
Yeah. Uneven wear, and you start wearing out shock. I mean,
so
cascading problems.
Right. So all of that to say that, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, do your best to maintain your vehicle, because it's going to pay off for you in leaps and bounds in the long run. You're not going to get stranded. Your car's going to last you longer. And in the long run, that's going to save you a lot of money, whether it's for that small investment or you're doing it yourself. It's a big deal.
Right.
And all that to say that these companies are kind of leaning towards the, oh, I'll do it later, or, oh, I can't afford it right now. And that's not only dangerous for them, but again, them being the bigger dog on the road.
Right. Well, and it comes, money. Money's the thing, right? Money and time. Well, you put the money into doing your preventative maintenance and things like that up
Yeah.
front. So okay, it might cost you $1,000 to do a preventative maintenance check on your big rig, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'd rather pay the $1,000 for that than the hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and payouts for an accident down the road. Like,
Right.
that's economically sound to me. And
Plus, not to mention the fact that, and maybe this is just me and my empathetic mind speaking, but if you killed somebody on the road, you're gonna have to live with that forever.
all right.
Knowing the fact that it could have been avoided had you just replaced this one little part on your car, on your
And I
rig.
want to say that these are my own opinions. I have nothing to do with the Department of
Same.
Transportation, so don't say that these are policies because they're not. Just two dudes talking.
Yeah.
And back to that. So, an interesting, and I love telling carriers when I go and we do inspections and stuff like this. So there is a statistic that we have within the agency that says for every vehicle that we go and we inspect and we physically touch and look at, we save 14 crashes. Think about that. One vehicle that I might go and say, okay, you need some new tires, maybe, clean up this leak here, take the bath, wash it up, and you're good to go. I saved 14 accidents, and that could be, what, hundreds of lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that insane?
Well, and just thinking on the tires alone, dude, those tires, when they come apart on a highway, that's dangerous as fuck.
Well, yeah,
That tire could kill you.
I didn't know about retreadable tires until I took this job,
Yeah, that shit still is a mind fuck for me.
And it cannot compute. Like, why would you want to do that? Like, driving down the road, you see all those gators on the side, and you're like, damn, like, those tires blew. And it's like, oh, no, it was just a piece of rubber that was super glued on. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, why? Like, that's
Dude, I can't tell you how many people would go to O'Reilly when I worked there and be like, oh, how much is your battery for my car? And I'd tell them, and they'd be like, oh, I'm just going to go down to 4th Street and get a refurbished battery. And I'm like, that's not a fucking real thing. Once a battery drops below 12 volts, it's fucking scientifically proven that it can never maintain a full battery life again. So you're going to go pay these guys to sell you a bad battery. And I'll see you in a week. And then you're going to come and spend the money here anyway because that battery failed you. Like, I don't know. There's something to be said for investment properly. Like, just fucking give the money up front and just don't worry about it.
Yep. Invest in yourself, invest in your car, invest in your future.
Absolutely. Because, that's life. What else are you going to do? Like, not work, not drive? Yeah, good luck.
Oh, sign me
Especially
up.
in New Mexico. Well, I mean, like we were talking about in big cities like Seattle, that's an advantage. You can not drive and still get around. You can still maintain life without having a vehicle, for that matter.
I could not imagine not driving.
Listen, man, when we were kids, my main goal, aside from kissing girls and touching boob, was to get a fucking car and drive it. Like,
right?
I could not wait, and it blows my mind because nowadays, like, I've talked to several kids who are like, I don't care. I don't really need a car. I don't want a car. What? Who doesn't want a car? Why don't you want to drive?
My oldest daughter was like that when she came of age. I was like, all right, you're going to learn to drive. Well, why? What do you mean, why? Like,
that's so interesting.
It's your independence. Like, you can get out. Like, you don't have to rely on me to take you somewhere. You can say, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go explore. Well, why would I want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to do that? I mean,
fuck, that's wild, dude.
And it was the same thing. Like, when we were kids, it's just like, I got my license. Like, I just drove. Like, as long as I didn't violate what my mom said, like, don't go into Albuquerque. Okay, fine. I drove the back roads. I explored all these places. Like, I figured out how to get places. Oh, I'll just take an Uber. Well, what happens when all the Uber drivers, future Uber drivers, don't learn how to drive? Then what? What do you...
Plus, you're spending money unnecessarily. This is a fraction of what you would have paid for gas.
Oh, I know. I mean, well, I don't know if Uber is really prominent out here in Albuquerque or not, but...
It's here, but it's not huge like it is in the big cities.
When...
Listen, I'm just saying, if you get onto Uber, you're going to get a ride. They're here.
But you're going to pay, right?
I wouldn't say it's any more expensive than the big cities, for sure.
Well, either way, like...
But you're paying somebody else to, and the sad reality of it, I discussed in episode 4 with Ronnie, is that Uber takes 75% of what you're paying for that fare, and they keep it. The driver only gets 25%. 25% for their time, for their gas, for the wear and tear on their car, for vehicle maintenance. It's a really fucked system.
Well, I mean, it's a scam as it is. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I when Uber and Lyft and these ride shares service things and started, like, it was a part-time gig. It was a supplemental thing just to, hey, I got a free time, or I need a little extra few bucks here on the side.
Right.
That people have turned this into a full-time job. Like, I despise. I don't appreciate it, and I do not use those services.
I mean, if they treated the drivers better, if it was more of a, hey, we're the company, we created this, so we deserve a small portion of what you're making, sure. If it was like a 80-20, where the driver keeps 80%, I'd still be a little more comfortable with it. But the fact that these drivers are only making 25%, and that's their income, that's what they're living off of, I'm like, how the fuck are you even alive?
But see, they shouldn't be living off that. They shouldn't rely on, they make that their primary source of income.
I mean, I get it, but
that's what they do, and what irritates me is it started out as, your friend coming to pick you up and you give them a couple bucks.
Yes.
And then they put taxis out of business, which unintended consequences.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they put them all out of business. There's still taxis that are out there.
It's way less prevalent.
But yes, way less prevalent. But so now you have all these taxi drivers that have turned to Uber drivers.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you didn't change anything. Like, you just went from a shitty car to maybe a less shitty car.
Right, and less money.
Yeah, and less money.
But and then that's also because that's all they know. That's what their trade is. That's what they grew up learning. I drive. That's what I do.
And, again, that speaking of professions, that's a great profession. It can be. But, it gets saturated with people that are just in it for the wrong reasons.
So yes, I don't agree with the whole. I think it's a really convenient service, but look what it's done to society, for that matter, especially these kids. Like, I don't fucking understand. I remember we were talking about it earlier, and actually I wanted to talk about it, but I want to be respectful of your time also. But going to car shows as kids, when your mom would take us to these car shows, and I admired what these people did to their cars, and it made me so desperately want a car of my own so I could start doing these things to my car, and all of that is sort of a thing of the past. Now, bro, we were talking about car audio, and every car audio forum or group that I'm a part of, it seems like it's, there's a trickle of people lesser than our age, but it seems like the majority of the people in these groups are our age or older. And I'm like, this is making me so fucking sad, because this is becoming a lost art. This is becoming a lost passion of the past. It's like a hobby that's not going to exist soon. And I feel like that's going to be a thing with driving.
Yeah.
These kids don't understand independent feeling, the fun, like the just joy you get out of having your own car and driving it somewhere.
No, I think you're absolutely right with, car shows and that mentality. And it's not the same anymore. And, last night I was coming into town, like, I didn't see a lot of lowriders anymore. But, you see some. I saw this. I couldn't tell if it was a Ford Excursion or if it was just a F-150 with a big camper shell on it. But thing was super lifted, had lights everywhere. It had lights around its rims, and I was like, man, that is sharp. That is sharp as shit. But I was like, at the same time, like, that's a driving hazard. Many lights.
I get it, but
it was in a park. It wasn't in motion. It was in a parking lot, just visually on display. And I I was like, that's something you don't see every day anymore. Like, I used to remember you could drive down any street in Santa Fe, and there'd always be.
There's always cars that are
always cars that were souped up, and they were there, and they were parked, and they were cherry, and you couldn't help yourself but to just look and be like, "Fuck, that looks nice."
I can't describe how much I miss just driving down the street and hearing a bunch of different cars bumping, a bunch of different shit, just to filling their base. Like, I know it gets annoying after a while, and you're sitting at a stoplight, and there should be concessions. You should be respectful of other people. So when you pull up to a stoplight, and obviously your music is going to be playing significantly louder than when you're in motion, but maybe turn it down while you're at the stoplight, and then as you proceed to drive, turn it back up. You know, like I miss hearing that on the road. That shit it's few and far between anymore.
Yeah.
And the vehicle customization, it's gotten significantly smaller and lesser, I feel like. And that makes me so sad because that was a big joy in my childhood. That I loved that. Your mom used to take us and I would just be just so fascinated with what I was seeing, like all the customization and like, wow, how do they do this? I want to do this one of these days. I want to have this. I want to, I want to go cruising the street and pick up girls and have this thing that I did myself to show.
Yeah, I mean,
Crazy.
Lowriders to import racers, and now you don't really see a whole lot of either.
So
Well, I mean, at least I don't anymore.
I mean, it still exists, but like I said, it's more niche and it's pretty specific to age group people. It's not like it used to be where everybody was doing it,
Yeah.
Especially in the high schools. I remember being in high school and just admiring the shit out of these people who worked full-time jobs after school so that they could afford to do that shit to their car. Made me so envious and like made me want to try hard. Like,
Right.
what do kids have to look forward to nowadays if that's not something they're interested in?
Fortnite.
And on that note, I will see you on the next. Oh, you're fucking right. That's so sad, but I don't know. Society is crazy. Just the evolution of things and the way people think and the way people are brought up. It's mind-boggling how different it is than when we were kids. And
Yeah.
maybe that speaks to how our parents felt about our generation. But there was similarities. There's really not as many similarities between our generation and the next generation anymore. It's so worlds apart.
Well, like we were talking earlier, the styles that we had when we were coming up. Jankos. Yep. They're coming back. Whether or not I appreciate that or not is a whole other story. But a bunch of tweens walking around in Nirvana t-shirts who have no fucking idea.
They don't even know Nirvana is a band or a group. They don't know that it's music. They just think it's a style thing. You know what I mean? They're fucking bumping hip hop in a fucking car with a blown speaker.
They're Teslas.
Yeah. Driving on the road listening to fucking whatever fucking Future or whatever's nowadays popular and wearing a Nirvana t-shirt and Jinkos, not knowing the origin of those and that was a thing of our generation. Yeah. And like it's so crazy.
But as our fashions start, circling around, maybe these ideals and mentalities and thought processes will start coming back. Be like, hey, I see that this is failing. Like, I need to be better moving forward. So, I don't know, that's just my hopes and dreams.
We can just hope that these future generations have as much ambition and mindfulness as we did. I mean, and I'm not saying we were perfect, but, we did get out and scrape our knees. We did fucking learn shit. We did have goals and aspirations. We did, admire people that were ahead of us and whatnot. And that led us to be the people that we are. So I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt to the future generations that I hope you guys do better.
Yeah. Don't shoot up your school. Just handle your shit out behind the building.
Oh my God.
Bust your knuckles, break a nose, call it good, be friends.
Yes. Shake hands, move on, live another day.
Yes.
All right, Nuz. Well, I know I've taken a lot of your time and I know you got to hit the road, so.
All right, well, thank you, and to your best friend for the hospitality as always. I know that she, we always miss each other because schedules and times and all that, but yeah, we'll do this again.
Yeah.
And I know we'll continue on our conversation. You'd be like, oh, we should say that for the podcast. So maybe we should start writing this stuff down for the future.
At least titles. Let's jot down some bullet points.
There you go.
The next time we have one of these, we just go off of that.
I'll have my assistant call your assistant.
Good. Let's mingle. All right, Joes, this has been another episode of Ordinary Joe's Extraordinary Stories. Thank you guys for watching as always, and we will see you on the next one.
Later, guys.
Later.
Snoring dogs. Whew. That little dog puts off some heat on my leg. I don't want to step on you.